All right, ever since the Georgia 6th District loss for a Democratic candidate who looked like he had a chance, especially with $30+ million in hand to take that seat, a growing course call for the party to rally around maybe different leaders, a different style. Whether Nancy Pelosi is a target of that, who knows? Congressman Joe Crowley is the House Democratic Caucus Chairman. Congressman, very good to have you.
Thank you, Neil. Always great to be with you. Thanks.
Do you share that view, sir? I mean, or are they just piling on?
Well, I think after a loss, any type of loss, we're very competitive people. Nancy Pelosi is one of the greatest competitors in the history of our country politically. We all wanted to win on Tuesday. But I also think we have to look at the positive aspects here, that we've made incredible advancements not only in Georgia 6, but in South Carolina, the race in Kansas, as well as in Montana. And we've really dug so deeply into what was Republican territory, especially here in Georgia 6, Newt Gingrich's old seat, to repeatedly lose this seat by 20+ points and to narrow it to within 4 points, I think was quite an astonishing feat.
No, you're right about that. And all four of those races came a lot closer than certainly Democratic candidates did last fall. Right. Having said that, Chairman, the one thing that comes up is whether it is time for a change of guard, if for no other reason than to build on that maybe younger faces. I'm always leery of saying that because the older I get, the less I like younger faces. But what do you make of that?
Well, at being 55 now, I don't know where I stand in that, that
you're
category.
A kid. You're a kid.
I'm on the cusp of one or the other.
Right.
But listen, I think that Nancy Pelosi is one of the smartest and I think hardest working members here on the Hill. I think if we're back in the days of the Roman Empire, she would be the most fierce centurion, if not Caesar herself.
But back in the days of the Roman Empire, they didn't have political attack ads that featured you as a sort of a galvanizing point for the opposition, right? Well,
I think that's true, not only in terms of, I think, the demonization of political leaders here in the country. I think both parties are, to some degree, or I shouldn't say parties, there are entities out there. Ever since Citizens Union case, a lot of money has come in from outside forces who have demonized our political leaders on both sides of the aisle. And Neil, I think we have to also point to that horrific and terrible ad that pertained to the shooting last week in Alexandria and the shooting of my friend and colleague Steve Scalise, as well as others and the men and women from the Capitol Police. So that ad was atrocious. It was horrific, a horrible ad, and I think may have been effective as well in moving votes that otherwise may have contemplated voting for Democrats. What I saw, the ad was terrible, blaming the far left and the extreme left, and a vote for Jon Ossoff was a vote to enable them. And clearly that's not Nancy Pelosi, that's not Joe Crowley, I think we all, that attack was on all of us.
There are other issues, in fact, but that could be among them. You could be right. Yeah. But, Chairman, I think on the health care thing out today, of course, Nancy Pelosi has criticized, I'm sure many of your colleagues, you yourself have, this effort. Do you think it's easy to play Monday morning, or in this case Thursday morning, quarterback? Had Republicans agreed not to repeal the Affordable Care Act, but to dramatically fix it? Because in the end, even cynical Republicans are saying, this is not a repeal of Obamacare. This is a heavy rework, but some are saying not even a heavy rework, and that had they done that and acknowledged that there might have been more Democratic votes for this, because
certainly in the Senate.
The reality is that it's not been repealed, and that Democrats can still crow about having the government deeply involved in health care. What do you think?
I think it may not be completely repealed, but severely damaged. I think the estimate, we're still waiting to hear what the estimate for the CBO is, but the early reports, we're hearing at least 10 million people, if not more, who have insurance today will not have it over the next 10 years. So I think it's fair to say that what the Republicans have done in the Senate has completely broken down, is really antithetical to what the history of the Senate has been, is much more bipartisan. And I think, Neil, it's because the focus here is not to have a policy end or a policy victory. It's about having a political victory, getting something passed before the July 4th break or before we leave here in August.
You might be surprised, sir, but they're saying the same about you Democrats. So back to your idea that the ill will on each side and maybe toning that down, and to your credit, you have tried to do that with little
But
success. I guess I'm wondering,
yeah.
like, is anything going to change post the shooting last week and all these
Right.
other developments since? I don't see that change on either side.
But I'll let you one point, though, that they control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. If they want to include us in terms of working on the issue of health care, we stand ready and prepared to do that. But they haven't made that overture. Not only in the House, where we didn't really expect it as much, but certainly in the Senate we did. And I do think that there's much more camaraderie here. And I won't say bipartisanship, but there's concern about our fellow lawmakers, our friends. Pat Meehan is someone who I care about tremendously, a Republican from Pennsylvania. I can name dozens of others that he just comes to mind. Steve Scalise, we wish him no ill will physically and in any way, shape, or form. We just disagree on policy, and we have vigorous debate, and sometimes that goes too far. But I would also suggest, Neil, that the tenor and tone of Washington and the country starts at the top. It starts with the president. And I think if he starts to show a more conciliatory tone and trying to work in a bipartisan way, we're here to partner in that. But if we continue to feel as though he's attacking our constituency in such a personal way, he makes it very difficult to work with him.
You should hear what he says about you. I mean,
I know what he says. I'm waiting for my nickname. So.
Chairman, thank you very, very much. Very
Thanks,
good having
Neil.
you.
Great to be with you.